All right, everyone. This presentation is by Tatiana Villalobos. She works in Costa Rica with a group called Raising Coral, and she's going to be presenting today on a little bit of the work that they've been doing down there. So Tatiana, take it away.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, thank you for organizing this activity, and I'm so glad to be part of the Coralpalooza 2020. And as you say, I'm going to talk a little bit, it's just a brief introduction about Costa Rica coral reefs and a little bit the work that Raising Coral have been doing here for a while. So this is the structure of the presentation. First of all, I'm going to talk really fast about coral communities and reefs in Costa Rica. You will see that we have in both coasts coral communities and reefs. Also, I will talk a little bit about Raising Coral work. I will show you a timeline. And at the end, I just will tell you a little bit of the work we have been doing in the Eastern Tropical Pacific Network. So I don't know how many people know Costa Rica, and this is our map. And actually Costa Rica is a blue country. As you can see, our terrestrial area is just like 51,000 square kilometers, and we are more than 10 times in the marine area, thanks to the Cocos Island, for example, and the exclusive economic zone. So also, as you can see, we have Caribbean Sea and we have Pacific Ocean. We have around 22 species of hermatypic corals in the Pacific coast and around 37 in the Caribbean. So we are very lucky and we have a lot of work to do in both sides. And I will give you a little bit more detail about the coral communities and reefs in both coasts. At the right side, you can see in the column some pictures of the main coral species, the reef builders. We have Acroporas, Boritis, Cerastrea. These genus are the main ones, for example. And also, you can see the black arrows are showing or pointing out the coral communities or reef patches. And the red one is showing the main reef barrier or the coral reef, the main coral reef that we have in the Caribbean side, that is in Cahuita National Park. And in all the area, we have an average of a live coral cover between 10 and 15%. In the Pacific Ocean, as you can see, we have the coast is bigger, larger than in the Caribbean, it's more irregular. So we have amazing marine ecosystems at this site. The black places you can see in the ocean are marine protected areas. And again, the arrows, the black ones, are showing the main coral communities or reef patches. And the red ones will show the main coral reefs, the healthy ones we have right now. And talking about how is the coverage, the coral coverage here. So in the north part, as you can see, we have around 5% of coral coverage. One of the best places we have right now is Cocos Island. And alive coral coverage is around 18%. And then in the South Pacific coast of Costa Rica is around 16.5%. This includes Golfo Dulce. That Golfo Dulce is where the last arrow is in the map. This is where we have been doing our work in Raising Coral Costa Rica and coral restoration. And this average includes, like, for example, Parque Marino Ballena National Park, Caños Island, Golfo Dulce. So these rates or this coral coverage, this could be better, is what I mean. So that's why we need to work, and we are really interested in working in the Pacific coast. And at the right side, you can see the main genus that we have, the reef builders. We have Posilopora, is the main branching coral. Then we have Boritis and Pavonas. And now that you know a little bit about Costa Rica, I'll let you know a little bit too about Raising Coral work. And our slogan is a human coral symbiosis. So we started in 2016 working in Golfo Dulce. This was just a research project. You know, we just wanted to know if we could grow corals in underwater nurseries. We just took ideas and the techniques that were developed in the Caribbean and other regions and put them in the Pacific. This was almost the first time we were doing this in this region, in the Eastern Tropical Pacific. So it was just a research, trying to see what was working. Also, we started to work a little bit in social aspects, doing some surveys, trying to understand how connected is the local people with the reefs. We had the opportunity also to be in the first coral restoration meeting that was in 2016 in Fort Lauderdale. And for sure, we started to work a little bit in the local marine education. The next 2 years was about keeping the research, trying to solve problems. We had predation, we had to just adapt techniques and to start just, I don't know, thinking new things for solving those. Also, we were working and taking data every month. We were in the nurseries taking data, cleaning. We participated in 2018 in the Reef Futures, and we won an award for creating a nursing tropical Pacific coral restoration network. And that was amazing because that gave us the opportunity to start thinking bigger, right? And also during these 2 years, we started to figure it out how to make it work with the fundraising part. 2019 was the big year for raising coral because we had the science. We knew which coral species we could grow in these underwater nurseries. We knew we were success at least in this growing part of the research and a little bit of the restoration part, moving the corals, finding the techniques. So on 2019, we started a campaign called 1,000 Corals for Costa Rica. And also we work with this collective called Pelagos, and they created a short documentary called Symbiosis. And this gave us the opportunity to show to Costa Rica that we were doing something for our coral reefs. And that was amazing. You know, the government was surprised. They didn't know that in Costa Rica were people working in coral restoration. And for the population in general, it gave hope. It was really, really cool. And also we had the opportunity to go to, in general, not just the coast, but also to Costa Rican population and give a little bit of hope. Also, because of this campaign, we were able to grow more than 1,000 corals that actually we have in the nurseries. The plan was to actually these months were for moving those corals onto the reef, but you know, because of the coronavirus, everything is stopped right now. And so we are waiting a little bit with that goal, but we have all the corals in the nursery, which is great. So because of that too, we were able to work really close with the government, and we did write the National Protocol of Coral Restoration that will be out soon. We work in we had an event in the pre-COP 25th, and it was amazing, just talking to politicians about coral restoration as a measurement for facing climate change. And the Eastern Tropical Pacific Network. The name is PTO because that is the abbreviation in Spanish. And I will tell you a little bit more of that soon. And also on 2020, after all of this, we were just like with all these things, working in the research part, working like, you know, with the 1,000 corals, moving them, keeping the monitoring and everything. We train local people that we call our coral gardeners. We have key alliances that allow us to be more efficient in our work. And the most important thing is that we have a lot of people in love of coral reefs and in love of coral restoration. And all this work has done, this is Raising Coral team. So in the water, our core group is Joni Clepas. She is the scientific leader of Raising Coral. And we have Jose Andres Marin, yo, Tatiana, and also we have Angel and Cortez that are our main nursery assistants. It's amazing. Since 2016, we have these species in the nurseries and they are still there. So for us, it's just amazing, our pets. And also we have two scientific advisors from University of Costa Rica. We have Jorge Cortez and Juan Jose Alvarado. And other person that is a key person is Álvaro Terán, that is helping us with the fundraising part and the administrative part. As you know, we are good on the water, but not that great with this, with the numbers and the money and everything. So in these photos, what I want to show you is a little bit the techniques we have been using. This is branching coral Poecilopora. We have been using mainly tree nurseries. So we took little pieces of the coral and we put them hanging in the branches. After the 1,000 Coral campaign, we were able to work with the rope nurseries because the goal was just to increase the number of corals. And with the rope nursery, it's really easy. They grow great, sorry. And in the last picture, as you can see, is the technique we have been using for outplanting. For sure, we didn't have the ropes. With the ropes, we had to adapt the technique, but basically is what we have been doing with the branching corals. With the massive or submassive corals with Poraitis and Pavona, we have been using micro fragmentation. We have been using the ceramic disc or the plugs. And as you can see in the second picture, we had to use some plastic grids and put the ceramic disc there because we had predation. So we had to cover them with a plastic mesh to avoid it, and it worked. In the last photo is to show you the technique that we are using for outplanting the coral. So we have an underwater drill, but specifically for Poraitis, we had to use also a plastic mesh for protecting the corals there because we had predation too. So this has been mainly the work, is trying techniques, things that have been useful and have been working in other areas or other regions, just bringing them and adapting them. Lessons learned for raising coral. The first thing is that we know coral restoration is not the solution, it's a tool. If we don't work with the coastal problems, if we don't work with the people and the activities that are doing their activities in the reef, well, coral restoration is not going to solve many things. Also, we learned that pilot projects are important. What is working in the Caribbean is not going to work in Coralpalooza in the South Pacific of Costa Rica, or even what is working in the South Pacific coast of Costa Rica, it wasn't working at the same time, in the same way in the North Pacific of our country. So it has been really important to have some months to try the different techniques. Also, we learned that we need to act efficiently, right? We need to act fast, but based on science criteria. I think it looks really easy, so people think so it's just breaking corals, putting them in underwater structures, and then moving them into the reef. And no, it's more than that. And also it's more ethical. We are trying to make an intervention in a coral reef that is an ecosystem. It's a lot. And also, as I say before, with the regional work, it's understanding connectivity. We are facing climate change. So if we are able to understand how the regions are working, I think it's a really good way for scaling up and also for working like efficiently. And again, as facing climate change, the main thing we learn is that the mission is to be there. We don't know many things. We have predictions, but still being there, we are able to understand and maybe to answer faster to the changes. And the last thing I wanted to show you is about the Eastern Tropical Pacific Coral Restoration Network. As we say, it's like finding the strange in the outcast, and I will explain why. And this is the main people we have right now in the network. We have people from Mexico, from El Salvador, Costa Rica, and Colombia. But the idea is to integrate more people from the region. And this was the workshop in Costa Rica for creating the network. And why the outcast? And actually it's because the Eastern Tropical Pacific region is difficult for corals. I don't know, the conditions are not specifically for coral reefs, and we have some. This is an isolated region. There is upwelling, extreme temperatures, low pH, big changes in salinity, nutrients, and that's why we have a low coral species diversity and reef development. But still, science have proved that even under these conditions, these coral just cope with that. They are adapted to these conditions. The species here interact in really complex ways. And also we can compare these interactions with developed places like, I don't know, like in the Caribbean or in the Pacific. So I think in Eastern Tropical Pacific, we are working in a live laboratory, which is amazing. We are doing baby steps to get to the dream or the golden network. So we have been working in a website that is supposed to be ready really soon. We are working in a scientific review paper. We need to know what we have been doing in the region, right? Writing proposals because we want to do research in all the region, and we have been thinking and doing some trainings, and we will participate in the International Coral Reef Symposium that now will be in 2021. And the main thing for us in the region is just let's avoid mistakes and share what is working for each of us, and let's work together. I think it's what we have to learn in coral restoration. It's not enough the work we are doing right now, so we need to do it right. And again, thank you very much for the opportunity. I love the Coralpalooza and Pura Vida. If you have questions or anything, this is my email, and I'll be more than happy to give you more details. Thank you.